As you walk around the wall here, you see these, and you see how this is all works so very well. Some of these pictures here, I can take one off the wall here. They have the label on the back that explains the whole situation as to how they've been created. And all that. Now, one of the things that one could possibly talk about here, which I think is important, is there's certain parts of the United States, I won't mention that region of the country, the South, sorry, that would not like these works probably because they'd say they're irreligious. But to my mind, they're so tongue-in-cheek. They're not anti-religious. They're this marvelous combination of cultures, and I don't see how anybody could be particularly upset with these. You know, they have I find a joyousness about them. They have you know, we live in a world where we don't smile very much these days. You know, and these works of art are really funny. They're really funny. And they're funny and beautifully done, beautifully conceived, and you know, I love these works because of the ideas in them, but also because of the execution. You know, if these things were if they were badly painted, badly executed, it would be like, well, it's funny, but it's not very good. Or if they were beautifully painted and they weren't as clever. You've got to have the two. You've got to have the two. Conceive this painting over here. And this is another side of Valentin Popov. A chance taker. This particular painting I'm rather fond of from this series because Valentin credits me with the idea of these. I saw this documentary on Andy Warhol. Andy Warhol did not come up with the idea of the dollar bills. He did not come up with the ideas for the Campbell soup. He did not come up with the idea of Marilyn Monroe. He did not come up with the idea of the car crashes, etc., etc. He didn't come up with them. Henry Gadsauder said, you know, forget these portraits of Marilyn. It's time for death. Do some car crashes. Andy did all those paintings, and they're great. So people gave Andy ideas, and Andy took those ideas and ran with them. And I don't think those paintings are anything less than good because that somebody else was feeding him ideas. He had to actually create the paintings. Yeah, I mean, somebody once said about that Andy Warhol thought that, you know, the Madonna, the female object of veneration was the Virgin Mary. And then suddenly Warhol decided that the object of veneration should be Marilyn Monroe and Elizabeth Taylor. And instead of John the Baptist, it was Elvis Presley. One of the things I see about these works of art is they have humor, they have pop culture, but they're also religious too. I feel these I know enough about Christian imagery and also about icons to feel that these works of art are religious works of art. And I can see somebody that's a perfectly religious person having one of these works on the wall. One of the things that early religious paintings are like, and you can see these up at the Legion of Honor Museum, is that very often they would put 3 different scenes from the life of Christ in the same picture. So, you know, Christ is being tempted by Satan over here, and Christ is riding on his donkey over here. So they put multiple images in the same picture. They really kind of fill up the picture. And so that sense of the sense of multiple things where you've got the town and the landscape, the saints, and so many things going on in the same picture is very much very much in keeping with both these Russian icons, but also in the beautiful illuminated manuscripts of the same period of time. All the time you need. It's a long Bible, lots of illustrations. It's funny, my friend Robert Crumb recently illustrated the Old Testament. It took him, I don't know how many years. He did, like 400 drawings illustrating the Old Testament. They were bought by George Lucas, by the way. He was not going to break it up, so George Lucas bought the whole set for his museum wherever the hell it opens. I guess it's in Los Angeles. But in any case, so you have Valentine doing these icons, and you have R. Crumb doing the Old Testament. So, we're living in this wonderful cultural Cobb salad of things going in all these different directions and stuff, which I find is very, 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 I find it very, very interesting, very, very, very exciting. One of the things I'd like to also say about the nature of collaboration, did any of you, by any chance, go to see the portraits of Obama and Michelle Obama at the Dion Museum? Yeah. Those were over at the Dion this summer. Well, the painting by Kendall Wiley of Obama, he actually painted about 15% of that painting. The other 85% was painted in China. He did not paint all the foliage and stuff. That was painted in China by his workshop in China. He painted Obama's portrait and stuff. So that sense of collaboration is something that is, it is the nature of art, especially more so now than it used to be. But the greatest Japanese printmaker of all time, in my opinion, Hokusai never cut a woodblock. Hokusai never printed a woodblock. Hokusai did a drawing which was put on a block, cut by another artist and printed by another artist. That was the nature of the collaboration of the greatest Japanese printmaker of all time. So the nature of, it's kind of like, well, I really love that apple pie, but I don't think it's that good. You say, why not? Because it was made with a Cuisinart. Isn't that, if it's a great apple. Now, one of the things you might want to know is what Valentine's going to be doing next in his art. And guess what? He doesn't even know either. That's what's so interesting. That's what's so interesting. That's what's so interesting about Valentine, is that Valentine's work is very evolutionary. And you see a slightly earlier. By the way, this is not a portrait. It is a young woman dolling herself up, and you can appreciate it from the point of view of capturing a moment in time of a female youth. But it's not somebody who posed for the portrait. This is the work of art that transcends that. And so I think one should realize that the Valentine has these evolving ideas, whether they be the landscapes, whether they be the avalanches, whether it be this particular project he's been working on in Ukraine, which is so, I think, fascinating, that we just have to wait for what's next. I mean, you see that with filmmakers too. You say, I love that film, but I wonder what the next film's going to be. Well, we don't know until it comes out. And so one of the things about Valentine is we have to wait and see what comes out of the studio next. Because one of the saddest things is an artist who makes a certain type of art that has a certain commercial viability, and the artist does the same work over and over and over again, where they cease to create, they only manufacture. And one of the things about Valentine is, one thing you can always say, whether you like certain aspects or not, he's always being creative. And by the way, he also is very big on documenting his books. I know because he's always roping me into writing for his books. I'm one of the writers in this one, not the only one. There's a number of other people, but this is book Iconic Icons, which is this beautifully produced book. Where was this printed? This was printed in China, but it was designed in Ukraine or not? Yeah. Anyway, beautifully designed book. And you can actually see it in the dark. It's so glowing.